Right, it is Tuesday. We're pulling out on a weird day. But we're pulling out. Need to make sure that the Jeep locks up. And it did. Alright, so now that we're pulling out, I'll tell you what we're doing today. We are on our way, big bump, to Safety Plus in Tallapoosa, Georgia. Now this is an item you can buy on Amazon. We'll leave a link to it, of course. But we're gonna go straight to the factory and have them install it. And I'm kind of excited about that. So Safety Plus is basically a sideways self-centering shock that goes on your steering, and it makes it to where the thing doesn't wander as much in wind and that kind of stuff. When we get on the road, I'll show you what I hope it fixes. Let's just say that. I hope it fixes. So this is going to be like a true before and after, because we're going to do some driving. We got to drive like 80 miles to get there, and I'm hoping I can kind of duplicate those conditions and show you. And yeah, it'd be pretty awesome. This is a 2014 gas Class A coach with a 24,000-pound chassis. Overall, I think it actually drives pretty good. We've got new tires on it. We've got Bilstein shocks on it from the factory. The thing's pretty good. But you see all these little micro adjustments I'm making with the wheel? And then now as we have trucks come up on us, it's not very windy outside, but I do have to make a lot of corrections. Here comes another truck. We'll see what it looks like. And it's actually after the truck goes by a lot of times, just because of their terrible drag coefficient hitting me. Alright, so it's pushing on me now, and then when it gets about 2/3 of the way back past me, it'll start sucking on me as that negative pressure behind the truck starts to pull me. And there it goes. And then all of the turbulence kind of blows you around and stuff. That depends on the wind and stuff, obviously. So I'm an aerodynamics junkie. Sorry about that. But especially with crosswinds and stuff, just all these little micro adjustments that I'm doing with the wheel. It doesn't drive bad, but after 5 or 6 hours of this, your shoulders feel that. And I'm hoping that with this install of the Safety Plus steering, whatever they call it. If they don't call it a steering stabilizer, we'll have to ask them what they call it when we get there. But I'm hoping, and they're going to install it first. So, yeah. See, it's not terrible, but it does take a lot of going down the road maintenance to keep this thing between the lines. It's not bad, but again, it's not windy either. So if it was really windy, it'd be even worse. Maybe it'll get windy in a little bit, we'll be able to see that. But we're only 50 miles from this place. So I'm very excited about this. Very excited about this. So we are here at Safety Plus in Tallapoosa. Leslie told me that I was saying it wrong with an extra L. Anyway, so we're here. It's a really nice facility. I went inside real quick, and they said that they've got one person in the bay having one done. There's one out on a test drive, and then we are next in line. So relatively on time. Apparently it's only supposed to take like 15 minutes to put it on, which is kind of crazy. And then they're going to take us out for a test drive and make sure that it's good and make sure that it's centered in the lane and stuff. So I'm pretty excited about this. It's a pretty cool place.
Oh, do you drive up on the ramp? Right. Oh, God.
it's like, I can feel it.
You like it so far?
I mean, I don't know. I can't even tell. I can't tell what it's gonna do, but I can definitely tell that it's there. Let's just say that. So the steering effort, look at that. It's already like wanting to self-center. So the steering effort changed a little bit,
Okay.
but it is tighter. Definitely tighter. There's definitely a feel change to the wheel. Like, yeah. It's pretty awesome.
We're gonna head towards the interstate.
Okay.
And yeah, so what you're gonna be looking for is, you know, tightness, how responsive it is. Just overall, it's gonna help you a lot more when you're steering. When the wind blows, when you hit a bump, semis pass you, it's gonna keep that tension on the wheel so you're not constantly fighting.
Cool. Definitely pulling to the right side.
Okay, that's my ass. It's a pretty good pull.
Yeah.
You can adjust this yourself if you so choose. Since it's mounted behind the tie rod, if it pulls to the right like it is now, you're going to move it to the left, to the driver's side of the coach.
Okay.
Right about in here. Just make sure you get your wheels straight. Oh, yep. Yep. And just kind of knock it to where it's
turn it straight.
Yep. Since it's pulling to the right, we're going to go opposite of travel, which is to the driver's side of the coach. So I'm going to mark it right here on this side of the bracket. And then we're going to loosen just 2 of the bolts because we don't want to go too far. We want to keep some tension on it. And we're just going to bump it over a little bit. You may have to loosen it a little more if it doesn't want to move. That's all right too. All right. So you can see we didn't move very far.
About 1/8 of an inch, maybe. Not even.
Slightly less, yeah.
Yep.
Just that little bitty, probably 32nd of an inch can make the difference.
Okay, so that's a good thing to know if you're putting one of these on yourself. You don't want to make big swing movements.
No,
we're talking a little bit.
Do you see how this is what I was talking about by pre-adjustment? This is relatively what we call flush.
Okay.
So it was, you know, the pre-adjustment that I had earlier, this little knob was inside, like you couldn't see it from the outside of the unit.
Yep.
And so this is what we call flush. That's how I know the unit's relatively centered.
Okay. I can definitely see people making the mistake of like moving it a 1/4 inch or a 1/2 inch or something, and it would be way too much. Yeah. Still a little bit, but there is crown, like you said.
Yeah. The real test is on the interstate because it's more defined the faster you go. So I've already got that line there.
Yep.
As a reference point, so I don't need to make another.
Because you're going the same direction.
Yeah, I'm still going the same direction. So I have that as a reference point, and I know about how far I think I need to go. Probably loosen it up some more. Alright, so we're not going to go very far this time either. Alright. I don't know if you can see it moving, but
Just a little.
yep. And I'm just going to put about that much into it. And just tighten it back down. And see, this is what I was talking about. You don't have to really, like, I'm not exerting a whole lot of force. It's just snug.
Okay.
I saw you walking out with a bag and then it's sitting here and I'm like, what's in the bag? So, well, of course we have stickers and looks like probably our receipt and information.
There's
on
a warranty
the product.
card in there.
Yeah. Ooh, a flashlight.
Nice.
Safety with batteries.
There.
Flashlight.
Some information
Product.
if we want to give it to people, even though we're just going to put a link in the description. Some
Pens.
of course.
And dun, dun, dun,
A hat.
a trucker's cap.
Nice.
That's pretty cool.
Heck yeah.
And a nice reusable bag.
Yeah. That's it. Let's get this thing on the road and see how it feels now that we... I mean, during the test drive's one thing, but now the dude's gone, and now we get to really talk about it. Let's see what happens. All right, so we're back on the road, and there's a couple of things right away that I noticed with this Safety Plus. On small roads, we have zero shoulder here. The road's all crowned weird, and there's a lot of curves and corners and hills and stuff. So with a motorhome, anytime you have to make a correction, it upsets the chassis. And then when the chassis gets upset, it exaggerates it again, and that's why you start to get that like wagging tail feeling when you're driving down the road. It just gets worse and worse and worse, and we've all seen the videos where it gets like really dangerous. Now, on this narrow road with no shoulder and a lot of crown and all these curves, all I have to do now when I come into a corner is literally just squeeze the wheel into the corner and leave it there, and it tracks perfectly around the corner. There's no mid-corner corrections, even if there's a bump, even if there's a chassis upsetting situation like wind gust or something. So driving on these small roads is much, 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 much nicer. Absolutely incredible. Now let's get this thing on the freeway and see what it feels like with a bunch of trucks going by. All right, so let's talk about this Safety Plus and what it does and what it doesn't do. We have a truck coming up behind us. Okay, so that truck came by, and in a lot of the Facebook groups and all this stuff, I've heard people say, well, I got the Safety Plus and it doesn't do anything because when a truck goes by, I can still feel it blow me around. Well, it's not going to get rid of the wind. The wind is still there. So I can feel it pushing on me. But the important thing is that the input is not being fed through to the steering wheel as much. See, that's really blowing us around a lot. But if you'll notice, I'm not really moving the steering wheel a whole lot. So it's still wiggling around and moving around. The chassis is moving around, but it's not being upset. It's not changing the course of the vehicle. And I think that's what happens a lot of times with a lot of these road conditions, is the course of the steering gets changed, and then you have to correct for it. Another example of that would be when you're on a road where the tire grooves are really, really worn in and it wants to wander back and forth. You just drive over it now. It doesn't translate to the wheel. Another one would be lane changes. So for example, if I want to make a lane change right now, you know, a lot of times the weight transfer from a lane change would like swing you over, and you would feel that sway and then have to correct for that. You don't have to do that anymore. That's a lot calmed down. The other thing is anytime you got a big dip in the road, now I know that's more down to shocks and such, but when you got a big dip in the road and the chassis unloads and the wheels will wander around a little bit, this doesn't do that anymore. When the chassis unloads, the wheels stay totally straight and true. It is really, really good. Does it fix every problem? No. But what it does do is it makes the chassis a lot less upset when you have any kind of adverse conditions. It's pretty gusty out right now too. There's gusts kind of hitting me and letting off. And while I feel them, it's not changing the course of the vehicle. I think there's a lot of misconceptions, like once you put this thing on, it's going to be like super solid and you're never going to feel anything again. It's not that. It makes it track straight, which is unbelievable. It works really good. And the fact that it's got a lifetime warranty, the fact that they installed it for me for free, and really great customer service so far. I'm stoked on this thing. So if you have been on the fence as to what to buy for a steering stabilizer for your motorhome, I would get it. They have a few different versions. They have them for the C classes, the smaller ones, with a 180-pound spring, and they have the Class A ones and up with a 230-pound spring, and I think they have a super heavy-duty one with a 270-pound spring. They'll know which one is supposed to go on your rig. They're super informed and they know all about it. Definitely check them out. We'll leave a link to them in the description. That link helps us out if you use that link. It's no extra cost to you, but it does help out the channel a little bit, so we do appreciate it. Check that link out. Make sure you check out our video, our live hangout on Sunday at 9:30 Eastern, where we'll do FAQs, and if you have more questions about this, you can ask them in person or put them in the comments to this video, and we will get to them. And also, if you want to know where we are up to date, because we shot this a couple weeks ago, check out patreon.com/musicandmascara. Thanks for hanging out. We'll see you.